interesting. Like the gunplay doesn't look too bad, and then you've got all the abilities that you've got there firing off as well. Looks good. Like you might have mentioned before that it looks fairly. Is that what you're
What I was trying to say is it looks a bit like Anthem, doesn't it?
Which we played like a little bit of.
Which was
played
all right, but the game. But it wasn't a game that needed a lot of refinement in order to work, which they never got around to doing, which was a crying shame, an absolute crying shame.
Which is now games.
Yeah, it's the thing is I wouldn't download it. I'd worry that it'd fucking brick my Xbox, given the fact that it bricked a few PS4s along route, and it's like it's a slim chance, but the game's not that good enough to risk it, I'm afraid. So Returnal, it looks like a live, die, repeat kind of situation. You get so far and then you die. There's a game I've got called Moon Crash, part of a game called Prey, and it does that live, die, repeat kind of thing. So you're like rerunning this simulation until you can figure out how to rescue everyone. I think what it is you're going to go through the actual thing, but the computer's going to play you through the entire situation, so it can have you achieve your goals in order to do it. Now, if you know anything about the original Prey 2 storyline, it was supposed to be a bounty hunter fella, and he was supposed to be hunting down bounties and stuff, and he comes across the guy from the original Prey game, the Indian fella called Tommy, and they get together, and what happens is that every time he dies, he goes back home and wakes up in bed, and then he keeps repeating similar to that. And in that version of the story, in that version of Prey, they were going to have it that they were trying to get to this doorway which would open up into this city which they could control, and they find stacks of this guy's bodies of every time he's attempted to do it and failed and returned, but he had wiped his memory, so he had no memory of this thing, and it sounded fantastic, yeah. And then it had a twist at the end of the game, and the twist at the end of the game was the fact that he frees everyone from the control of this machine that's running everything with Tommy and everything, and he activates his like emergency teleport thing. But instead of getting teleported back to like a police cell or something like that, he gets teleported back to Earth, so he gets to live on Earth again, yeah. And then it's supposed to show a sequence of him meeting someone, getting married, having kids, having grandkids, and that. And then he grows old and he dies. And the moment he dies, when he's old, he wakes back up in his bed on the space station. And that sounded fantastic. And I'm hoping that Returnal will do something along that, and you'll have some kind of massive twist with it. But it's going to be like the Tom Cruise movie, Edge of Tomorrow. And you've got to try and figure this out. So Karen's got to find the manager and report and say that this is a problem. And then go through the game. So I think it's a case of you play it so far, and if you die, you get reset all the way back to the beginning. Yeah, so you're going to come across a few things that are going to irritate the crap out of you when you go to like do like a boss fight or something, and you die, and then you go, I've got to fight my way all the way through that fucking area again and go again. It may keep a few things that I don't know. They may do it so it's like if you've defeated certain things, they stay dead, and you can go walking past them, but certain things that didn't stay dead. So if you've left a few bad guys or whatever, or enemies or whatever, then they would come and do that. Interesting. Gameplay looks honest. Doesn't look great, I'll be frank with you. Looks like a upscaled PS4 game, and it does look like actual gameplay, and I think it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see a little bit more gameplay on that and see how this mechanic works, for sure. Maybe every time you die, that's when you can use the experience that you've gained within that period to put into skills in order to further your advancement.
I don't think you're gonna find stuff. It's not gonna be like XP. It's gonna be you find a weapon, you open a door, and then when you die, you can then go back through that open door. You can use that weapon that you already recovered.
I think you'll only get whatever you find or gain within that period of living.
And then you have to find your corpse to recover your weapons too.
There was a game like that. There was a game.
It's quite a few games like that, actually. It's No Man's Sky does it.
EverQuest.
So EverQuest does it, but No Man's Sky did that too. You remember when you die and you get your little kind of thing floating around to the ground, or in space, depending where you got destroyed?
Yeah.
All right. it looks good. I'm interested. I think let's move on to our next game, which is